Western Washington at a 7:23, UC Santa Barbara at 7:24, UC Davis at 7:30, and Washington State at 7:26. So this may well turn into a race for first and second between UCLA and Santa Clara in lane 1 and 2, and then a race for third between USC, Western Washington, UC Santa Barbara, a race for first, second, and third between UCLA, Santa Clara, and USC, and then a race for fourth between Western Washington, UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis, and Washington State. As anticipated, it is the crews in lanes 1, 2 and 3 who are dominating these Men's Novice 4 Grand Final. At present, it is UCLA, followed by their crosstown rivals USC, with Santa Clara hard on their heels. On the other side of the racecourse, the advantage, it's very level pegging between UC Santa Barbara and UC Davis, but Washington State and Western Washington are both in contact with them. They're in the third 500 at the moment, and the advantage is still with UCLA, but USC, but only by about half a length over USC, with about a length further back to Santa Clara. Those three crews have some but not great separation between the other four boats in the race. In that race, it is the crew from UC Santa Barbara who are being challenged hard by UC Davis, with Western Washington overlapping and Washington State slightly further back. As they go through the 500-meter mark, it is UCLA who have an advantage, an increasing advantage over USC. USC pressed them hard in that third 500, but UCLA seem to have held off that pressure and seem to be moving away slightly as they come into the final 500. And it's now Santa Clara who are still trying to maintain their pressure on USC for second place. A little further back, it is still UC Santa Barbara hanging on to a lead, just over Western Washington and UC Davis. Western Washington seem to have snuck past UC Davis for that, what is at this point, 5th spot. At the front of the race, coming into the final 200 meters, it is UCLA sitting pretty at the front of the race, just pushing the releases away, keeping the race under control. USC out in lane 3, still pushing valiantly to get back on terms and stay away from the Santa Clara crew in lane 2. As we come to the line, UCLA, USC, Santa Clara, and it's still very tight for 4th. Poor UC Santa Barbara seem to have had an unfortunate last 500. And it appears to be the crews from UC Davis and Washington State and Western Washington who have got past UC Santa Barbara in the last 500. Unofficially, that is a win for UCLA over USC from Santa Clara. Then UC Davis, Western Washington, Washington State, and UC Santa Barbara. We're about a minute away from the start of the Women's Novice 4 Grand Final. Lane 1, Oregon. Lane 2, UC Santa Barbara. Lane 3, San Diego. Lane 4, Seattle. Lane 5, Seattle Pacific. Lane 6, UC San Diego. And Lane 7, Loyola Marymount. The outstanding times out of the heats, the lanes to watch are San Diego, who did an 8:03, they're in lane 3, and UC San Diego, who did an 8:07 out in lane 6. Next best times out of the heats were the University of Oregon with an 8:22 and UC Santa Barbara with an 8:29 in lane 2. Actually, University of Oregon in lane 1, UC Santa Barbara in lane 2, Seattle in lane 4, and Loyola Marymount in lane 7 all did a time within seconds of each other in the heats. But the form crews, lanes to watch, are lanes 3 and 6, San Diego and UC San Diego. Just having received their medals, the winning crew from the Men's Novice 4 Grand Final, UCLA. And we have a start of the Women's Novice 4 Final, Women's Novice 4 Grand Final. Again, the lane assignments: Lane 1, Oregon; Lane 2, Santa Barbara; Lane 3, San Diego; Lane 4, Seattle; Lane 5, Seattle Pacific; Lane 7, UC San Diego; Lane 8, Loyola Marymount. Form crews: Lanes 3, San Diego; Lane 6, UC San Diego, based on the heat times. Okay, in the third 500, it is the crews out of Lane 2, which is the UC Santa Barbara, Okay, in the lead is the University of San Diego. They are being pressed by UC San Diego, and the challenge to them is coming from Seattle University in lane 4, and also from Loyola Marymount out in lane 7. So the order as they come down to the 1,000 meter mark is San Diego, UC San Diego, then very tight between Seattle University and Loyola Marymount, with University of Oregon and Santa Barbara and Seattle Pacific trailing. So in the third 500 now, University of San Diego in the lead, UC San Diego in second, Loyola Marymount and Seattle University are having a very strong tussle for third place. I'd say the advantage is probably with Loyola Marymount at this point. Oregon are still in touch with those two crews, and then it's back to Seattle Pacific. And UC Santa Barbara is still in the race, but they're at this point behind the umpires' launches. So coming down to the 500 to go mark. University of San Diego is stretching their lead. UC San Diego are maintaining their advantage over the other crews in the race. It appears as though it is Loyola Marymount who are mounting the challenge. To UC San Diego for second place, and then very close between University of Oregon and Seattle University for that fourth place, although both of those crews are challenging Loyola Marymount for third. Clean display of rowing from the University of San Diego boat. Out of lane 3, and they are sitting on the front of the race, controlling it, keeping their rowing long and strong. UC San Diego will be doing everything they can to try and close the gap between themselves and the leading boat, University of San Diego. And then it's very close for third place. On this side of the race course, the University of Oregon. In the middle, Seattle University. And on the far side, Loyola Marymount. University of San Diego just sitting up, pushing those releases away. UC San Diego out in lane 6, not really at this stage making an impression on San Diego, but again not really being pressed hard from behind. Looks as though it's Loyola Marymount who have separated themselves from Seattle University and University of Oregon. Okay, unofficial finish order across the line so far. That was University of San Diego over UC San Diego. Over Loyola Marymount, over University of Oregon and Seattle University, then Seattle Pacific, and still on the rate course at the moment is the UC Santa Barbara, who are taking what can only be described as the scenic route, and that looks like a steering problem, that they have something wrong with their steering equipment.